Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the CAPBuilder Talk Radio Show with your host, small business expert, Marc Parham. Real talk with real people, talking about real issues facing small business and our community today. Join us every Monday evening starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To be a guest or for more information, go to CAPBuilderTalk.com. Post comments on Facebook.com/CAPBuilder Network. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode of CAPBuilder Talk with your host, Marc Parham. Real talk with real people, talking about real issues facing small business in our community today, helping you build the capacity to change your life, helping you to walk in your purpose. Then right now, as people are pivoting and doing things, in the U.S., you also got to think there's a global market. So I have Greg Bush Jr. here. He's the CEO of KFA. He's going to be discussing doing business in a global market, but he's also, I'm excited for him to come on my show to talk about a new IT application product called PHAZE that he's going to be releasing. So we're going to hear about that.
Welcome back to the CAPBuilder Talk Radio Show with your host, Marc Parham. Real talk with real people, talking about real issues facing small business and our community today.
All right, I'm back. That's that Earth, Wind, and Fire, the 7-minute song. I want to play it all, but we got to get to this conversation. I always really enjoy the fact that, during the course of the years I've been doing this show, I have somebody on and they're, doing great things. And then when they come back on like a year later, this young man I'm bringing on, I don't know if he remembers, but he was on October 6, 2019. Okay. So I'm going to introduce to you Greg Bush Jr. He's the president and CEO of KFA Associates. He has more than 20 years of experience in computer software and support services. But he's doing some great things in the marketplace. And Greg, man, I'm glad I know you're in a different time zone and everything, but I just want to thank you for coming on the show today. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, Marc. Thank you so much for having me. I definitely am celebrating today's win of being on your show again, so I really appreciate it.
All right. Do you remember being on here, last year?
Of course, I certainly do.
Yeah.
It was on my way, actually, to Atlanta to a conference there.
All right,
yes,
that's right. Diversity conference. So tell me, Greg, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself. I said a little bit about you, but I want you to let people know your 30-second speech or elevator pitch, or let's talk about who you are, then we'll get into what you're doing. And so you have the mic.
I can usually talk about myself for hours. 30 seconds.
We ain't got that kind of time.
Wrote my first computer program at age 13 due to the support of my parents. Got my degree in computer science, master's in IT. I've been doing computer technology since the early 90s, from client server to .com to application servers to working at KFA to the point where I bought KFA. Now I'm running it, and I really took the opportunity to not only support other people's systems and help make the Bill Gates of the world rich, but I got in a position to help our people, help the African diaspora. So
wow, man.
The software is called PHAZE, and I guess we're going to get into that.
So just kind of in a nutshell, let's talk about what KFA does, actually. You don't have to get into the bits and bytes and stuff, but let's just talk about in generalities what KFA does, what services it provides.
Okay, sure. Well, everyone rides a train, gets on a plane, gets on transportation systems, goes to higher learning institutions, and various vertical buildings and bridges and all of that. Those assets were planned, designed, and constructed by architects, engineers, and contractors, and they're managed by facility managers. We implement the technologies to let all of those stakeholders of such properties and jobs, we implement the technologies to let them collaborate to plan it, design it, and build it over the internet. And I'm proud to say that we did that for the General Services Administration to service President Obama's ARA program, American Recovery Act program. I implemented with my team the system to manage that job. And we also implemented technologies for the Obama presidential campus. So imagine you want to build, you have a $5 billion capital program. You need systems to help you track and manage not only the money, but what the people are doing and the collaboration of what they're doing. Our systems power that to happen.
Wow. So you have a new product that you're just launching now. So let's talk about that product.
Okay. Well, the product is the end result of going on a trade mission with one of my colleagues, my Director of Strategic Sourcing and Sustainability, Ms. Quintella Inti. We traveled to...
Who I'm going to try to get down here to the A, man. I'm just going to tell you that right now, you know.
Oh, I told you, she's going to work for me. She's not moving. Quinn and I went to Ethiopia last year in Kenya on a United States trade mission. And we went there to discover the needs of the developing countries. And we discovered they had no systems that I just described to you that we do across the United States. They were managing the development of their country with text and the WhatsApp. So I came home, and I came home to all the big vendors in the United States, and I sought to find a big corporation partner that will work with me to deliver professional services in Ethiopia and Kenya. They pretty much looked at me like I was crazy. Greg, why you want to do business over there? So I hired some developers and built the solution for the African diaspora and targeting minority-owned and small businesses in the U.S. that don't have the resources to play with the big guys. And I called that PHAZE. Now, the reason I called it PHAZE is because phonetically, PHAZE, it starts with PH. And the benefits of PHAZE are what I call the 5 A's. Access to the project record in one central repository on the internet. Automation, because I've automated the business processes to get their job done. Accountability, because as we automate the system, we assign via the system individuals responsibility to get their work done as part of the workflow. Every piece of information in the information has an audit trail, and then we put analytics in it so you can run reports and you have your dashboards. Now, this is very important throughout the African diaspora because they need governance. They need to know how the money's being spent, who's doing what. They need total accountability when they're granted or they're given money from other countries or they get money from within. They need total accountability, and PHAZE does that. And in my logo, I actually flipped the P backwards because I'm creating disruption.
There you go.
U.S. companies that did not want to play with me, I'm creating disruption. Because look, Mark, in the U.S., when we go and implement these systems, their license alone is $1 million a year for these systems. I'm coming at $89 per month per user. I'm creating total disruption to this industry that was called Project Management Information System. Well, I'm calling it Web Collaboration Information System because what we've learned as we've demoed it to different industries, they're saying, well, architecture, engineering, and construction, well, I could use this in my industry. I'm an accountant. I'm an attorney. I'm a project manager. So now we have Web Collaboration Information System. I dubbed it that. And I'm really excited because when we talk about doing business in a global economy, $89 per user, even if I give you an annual subscription at a discounted rate, as we know, Bill Gates knows that adds up. And I know your show is called Capital Talk. I'm talking about building wealth capital, diversity programs, intern to hire programs, reaching back and helping my brothers and sisters in Chicago and throughout the globe, especially the African diaspora, which is really important to me.
So tell me this, before you took your trip, were you thinking global? Or you went there and you was like, wait a minute, I see an opportunity.
I went there scared as you know what. I went there scared as you know what.
You were being honest about that. Okay. All right, yeah.
We are so brainwashed by what we've seen on TV.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, we got to Ethiopia and Kenya and stayed in some of the nicest hotels we've ever stayed in.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, the nicest people I've ever been around. And what's even more exciting, because some of my travels took me to Dubai and throughout the Caribbean, Kingston, Jamaica, etc. When we travel throughout the African diaspora, they don't understand the word minority. They don't. And we're teaching the world right now the fight about Black Lives Matter. But I sit with prime ministers at conference room tables when I travel as a man of African descent, not as a minority. So that whole conversation that we have in the United States doesn't exist as we travel globally. And you know what? If we can't win, we're going to win here. Change is going to come. And yes, Black lives do matter. But there's also an entire world, a global commerce opportunity for us to get involved with as well. And if anyone wants to know more, I welcome them to contact me.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap now, but you don't know how powerful what you just said. When you go back later and you listen to what you just said, you don't know how powerful and timely it was considering what we're dealing with right now. I've traveled abroad too, and it's just so interesting when I travel abroad, I'm not Marc the black guy, I'm just Marc Parham. Okay, and that's what the difference is when I'm traveling. And it's hard when you get back into the States, you're that black guy, but when you're traveling, you're not. So I want people to understand the global market, and maybe because of what's going on with us is there. But I want you to just talk about, we're going to wrap up here, but I want you to, if people want to know more about you, how to contact you, anything like that, why don't you run it by us right now?
Sure. Real quick, I want all of the kids to go to my foundation site, GregBushJr.Foundation.org, 5 $2,000 scholarships. KFA-Inc.com, PhazePM.net.com is the software. And lastly, GlobeClouders.com is the result of my trip to Dubai, GlobeClouders.com. So, Marc, I really appreciate you having me on your show,
man.
And I look forward to doing it again.
I appreciate you having the courage to be afraid and still got out of your own way, took that trip over there, and look what happened. Okay?
Right. Thank you.
But we got to get out of it. We got to lose the fears. But it all takes what I started the show with. You got to have confidence. You got to know who you are and know what you knew what value you were going to bring to those people.
That's right.
And you know what value you're going to bring to the world. Right.
Well, I just want to wish peace and love to all of your listeners and those that are protesting and fighting the good fight. And we see your mayor. I think she's doing a good job remotely on TV. That's what I see.
Yeah.
So
she's doing a good
job, appreciate you, Marc.
All right, my brother. So we'll get back. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.